We're doing 314B. During the third calendar quarter of 20-something, the Beech Tree Inn, owned by Don Smedley, employed the persons listed below. And if you count them, there's 10 of them. Also given are the employees' salaries or wages and the amount of tips reported to the owner. Here's the total wages, total tips. The tips were reported by the 10th of each month. The federal income tax and FICA tax to be withheld from the tips were estimated by the owner and withheld equally over the 13 weekly pay periods that make up the third calendar quarter. The employer's portion of the FICA tax on the tips was estimated at the same amount. So here's the federal income tax that was withheld right here. Employees are paid weekly on Friday. These are the following paydays. In July there were 5, August there were 4, September there were 4. Taxes withheld for the 13 paydays in the third quarter. So every week they withheld $632 of federal income tax, and the weekly OASDI withheld totaled $518, and the health insurance totaled $144.72. And then this is for the tips. That was on the wages. This is on the tips. There's the total of the OASDI and the HI. So if you add all those withholdings, they were withholding a total of $1,439.73 every single payday for taxes. Now we're going to use this information to fill out the Form 941. I don't want to make you dizzy by going back and forth, so I'll try and minimize it. Here's the 941 quarterly report. We have to check this box here because it was the third quarter, July, August, and September. Line 1, number of employees who received wages, tips, or other compensation was 10. The total wages, tips, and other compensation, and the income tax withheld. These two numbers came from right here, total wages and tips and total income tax. Next line is the wages that are subject to Social Security and or Medicare. Now remember, the limit at this point for 2012, if we were doing it for 2012, is $110,100. None of these employees have reached that. You can tell quickly by looking that the annual salary for Grant is $55,000, for Joseph it's $42,000, so they didn't even come close. Then they've given you the weekly salaries. You could times that by 52, but it's easier to look at the quarterly and just times it by 4 in your head. And you can see that none of them are going to come close to earning $110,100. So all of these wages, all of these tips are subject to the FICA. So we're going to put those totals. This is the total wages, $64,875, and the total tips, and then the two added together. We multiply the wages by the sum of the employees, 4.2%, and the employer, 6.2%. And remember, in years other than 2012, these will be probably both 6.2%. They'll be the same. And that's where you get your 10.4%. And then the HI, health insurance, is the 0.0145 times 2 for the employer and the employee. So this is the total that should have been, you add these up, and this is the total that should have been paid. And then you add that to the federal income tax withheld. And this is the total that should have been withheld, $18,716.79. Now you can't jump in and do line 7. You have to go down to line 11 and calculate that first. And line 11, which is the total deposits for the quarter, comes from the back side of this form. And I'm saying the back side because if you ever actually looked at the form, it is the back side. Here it's page 2. And what we're looking at here is the deposits that we made. So in month 1, what was deposited every week was $1439.73. And remember, we got that number from here. $1439.73 was withheld and deposited every payday. There were 5 paydays in July, so you multiply that and you get 71.98.65. There were 4 paydays in August and 4 paydays in September. So this is the amount that was actually deposited, $1876.49. This, it says the total must equal line 10. So we'll go back and we transfer the total to line 10, and line 11 was also from the back. And so what this means is we have an adjustment between what we actually deposited and what we were supposed to, and the difference is 30 cents. And we don't have to pay that in. It's negligible. So then you just add, line 11 carries down to line 13 because we don't have any COBRA. So that is basically how you fill out the 941. Wasn't that fun?